Imagine waking up in a cold metal room, the smell of antiseptic in the air, your body torn apart from battle, and the first thing you see is a stranger's face. Not your own kind, not someone you trust, but a human, eyes steady, voice calm, touch gentle. For one alien soldier left to die, that single moment became the spark that changed her entire destiny. Because when everyone else abandoned her, the human soldier stayed. And that decision? It would ripple across worlds. Before we dive into this incredible story of survival, compassion, and the raw power of humanity's spirit, take a quick second to support the channel. Hit that like button if you love HFY stories, subscribe so you never miss the next one, and share this video with a friend who enjoys sci-fi tales where humanity truly shines. Alright, let us step aboard the Athena and see how one soldier's kindness rewrote the fate of an alien girl. The dust of Pyros 5 still clung to Aira's skin the night the sky burned. For weeks her post had been nothing more than monotony, standing guard over a barren mining outpost no one cared about. Raiders rarely came this far, and her squad joked that the only real enemy was boredom. But when the Krill arrived, boredom was the first casualty. The swarm fell upon the outpost like a living storm. Insectoid bodies, all jagged edges and unblinking eyes, poured across the defenses. Talons shredded armor, mandibles cracked bone, plasma fire turned the dust into molten glass. Aira fired her rifle, hands trembling, but every shot seemed to disappear into the tide. Around her, comrades screamed. One by one, they fell. She wasn't a soldier anymore, just a terrified girl drowning in chaos. A claw tore across her abdomen. Pain seared through her and she collapsed, green blood soaking the dirt. As her vision blurred, she glimpsed strange ships descending, spitting fire into the Krill. Then merciful blackness swallowed her whole. When she awoke, it wasn't to the cold embrace of death. She opened her eyes to sterile light, the steady beep of monitors, the smell of antiseptic. Gray metal walls surrounded her. Machines blinked and hummed, and hovering above her was not a Delone medic, not any species she knew, but a human. His face was rugged, his uniform sharp, but what struck her most were his eyes. They were impossibly warm, steady in a way that made her pulse slow despite her panic. "Easy," he said in a voice that carried both command and kindness. "You're safe now. I'm Lieutenant Connor Jensen, but you can call me Connor. You're aboard the UTS Athena." Aira tried to speak, but her throat was raw, her mouth dry. He pressed a small container into her hands. She sipped, cool liquid soothing her like balm. "Where am I? What happened?" Connor crouched beside her bed. He didn't flinch from the truth. "We picked up your distress call. By the time we arrived, the Krill had already torn through your outpost. We managed to save a handful of survivors. You're one of them." Her chest tightened. Survivors. She thought of her squad. Faces, voices, laughter around campfires. Gone. The grief hit hard, a sharp ache that made her turn her face away, but Connor placed a hand gently on her shoulder. Not the way her own commanders might. Cold, formal. His touch wasn't command, it was reassurance. "Rest," he said softly. "You're healing. We'll get you back on your feet." And for reasons she couldn't explain, she believed him. The days that followed blurred together. Aira remained in the med bay, her wounds sealed by technology she could barely comprehend. Dermal regenerators, nanosutures, cellular enhancers. In her world, such an injury meant certain death. For the humans, it was little more than a setback. But it wasn't the machines that kept her alive. It was Connor. He visited daily, sometimes bringing food, carefully checked to be safe for her physiology. Other times he simply sat by her bed, listening. He asked about her home, about her people, and in return, he told her of Earth. Mountains that pierced the sky, oceans vast enough to swallow continents, cities where light burned brighter than the stars. She found herself asking the question that gnawed at her. Why do you do it? Why risk your lives for strangers, for aliens? Connor leaned back, thinking. Because we've learned the hard way. On Earth, we fought each other for centuries. Millions died, It took us too long to realize we're stronger together. Out here, it's the same. There's too much darkness in the galaxy. Too much cruelty. Someone has to be the light, even if it burns us." His words unsettled her. Among her own kind, survival was all that mattered. Compassion was a weakness. But looking into his eyes, she saw no weakness, only strength, forged from scars. As the weeks passed, she grew stronger. Connor showed her the Athena, the gardens where humans grew their food, the observation deck where stars sprawled like spilled diamonds, the training halls alive with laughter and banter. It was strange. Among her people, duty was a cage. Among these humans, duty was shared like a fire passed from hand to hand. Yet doubt gnawed at her. What purpose did she have now? Her squad was gone. Her posting destroyed. If she returned home, she would be just another broken soldier. One evening, she voiced her fear in the ship's gardens, surrounded by the scent of alien flowers. "I feel directionless. You've saved me, healed me, shown me kindness I don't understand. But what do I do now? How do I repay it?" Connor studied her, as thoughtful as ever. At last he said, "There are still hundreds suffering on Pyros 5. Survivors, wounded, displaced. They need help. You know their world, their ways. You could be the bridge between them and us." She blinked at him, startled. "Me? I'm just one soldier. Broken." But Connor smiled, that infuriatingly gentle smile that always made her chest tighten. "No, you're a survivor. You have strength you don't even see, and sometimes, being the light for others starts with standing beside someone who believes in you." Aira stared at him, and for the first time since the Krill descended, she felt something new. Not just survival, not just grief. Hope. She didn't understand humans. Not yet. But she understood this human. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. The shuttle broke atmosphere over Pyros 5, and Aira's chest tightened at the sight. Her homeworld's outpost was gone. Mining rigs lay twisted and blackened. Scorched earth stretched for miles where the Athena's cannons had vaporized swarms of krill. Smoke still curled upward in ghostly fingers. And among the ruins, survivors gathered in ragged tents, their eyes hollow with grief. For a moment, Aira froze. She could still hear the screams of her squad, still feel the slash of claws across her abdomen. Part of her wanted to turn away, to retreat back into the safety of the Athena. But Connor was already slinging a med pack over his shoulder, his boots crunching across the ash. He glanced back at her, steady as always. "Come on," he said. "There's work to do." So she followed. The first stop was a makeshift field hospital. Rows of cots filled the tent, Delone survivors groaning in pain, untreated wounds festering. Human medics moved between them, efficient but overwhelmed. In one corner, a group of her people huddled together. Their eyes narrowed at Connor, their bodies tensed. One spat, "Why would the Terrans care? We're nothing to them. They'll leave once it costs too much." Aira's gut twisted. That was the belief she'd been raised with. The strong take, the weak perish. But Connor didn't flinch. He crouched to their level, opening his med pack and holding out a vial. "You're right," he said evenly. The translation device at his collar made his words sound clear in their tongue. "We're not here out of duty, or politics. We're here because you're hurting, and if we can ease that hurt, that's reason enough." The survivor hesitated, then slowly reached for the vial. Connor treated his wounds with calm efficiency. Aira watched the suspicion in their eyes fade into something she had rarely seen directed at outsiders. Trust. And so they worked. Connor moving swiftly among the wounded, Aira translating, reassuring, helping where she could. They brought food and supplies down from the Athena, adjusting rations so they matched Delone tastes. They tended the sick, buried the dead, and offered comfort in a place where comfort had been lost. At first, the survivors met them with cold glares, but day by day that coldness melted. It was replaced by cautious gratitude, then by quiet wonder. Humans weren't here for conquest. They weren't here for profit. They were here simply because it was the right thing to do. And that realization spread like fire through dry grass. One dawn, after a sleepless night caring for a burned child, Aira found Connor outside the camp. He stood at the edge of the ruins, shoulders slumped, eyes shadowed. "Hey," she said softly. "You okay?" He gave a tired smile. "Just thinking. Wishing we could have gotten here sooner. That we could have saved more." Aira looked out at the camp, at the tents and the wounded. For the first time she saw not just despair, but movement, rebuilding fragile threads of hope. "You taught me something," she said. "That it's not about saving everyone. It's about trying. Look at what we've already done. You've shown my people a way they never thought possible." Connor exhaled, some of the weight lifting from his shoulders. "You sound like Eliza, my daughter, always telling me I'm too hard on myself." Aira's lips curved faintly. "She sounds wise. You should listen to her more." His laugh was low, warm, and it sent a strange shiver through her. And in that moment, watching the sunrise chase shadows from Pyros 5, she realized that what she felt wasn't just admiration. It was belonging. When the relief mission ended, Connor asked her the question she had been dreading. "What will you do when this is over? Go back to your command?" She thought of her old life, of endless orders and endless wars, and then she thought of the Athena, of laughter in the training halls, of Connor's steady hand pulling her from the darkness. "I don't want to go back," she admitted, voice low but certain. "I want to stay. With you. With the crew. To be part of this." Connor's grin split across his face like sunrise breaking clouds. "Then welcome aboard." And so Aira's path was set. She trained with the crew, learned their ways, added her own knowledge to theirs. In time, she wasn't the alien they'd rescued, she was one of them. But more than that, she and Connor became something neither of them expected. Partners, guardians. Two souls bound not by blood, not even by species, but by choice. And together, when the Athena launched again into the black, chasing distress calls, standing against cruelty, they carried with them a fire that could not be extinguished. Because humans, she realized, were different. They weren't just survivors. They were light bearers. And in that light she had finally found home. And that's the story. How one alien girl, left to die by everyone else, found hope, belonging, and even love through the compassion of a single human soldier. It's what makes HFY stories so powerful. They remind us that humanity's greatest strength isn't just our weapons or our technology. It is our ability to care, to stand up when it matters, and to carry others with us into the light. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share with a friend who loves sci-fi. And let me ask you this. If you were Connor, would you have stopped for her? Or walked away like everyone else? Until next time.